To the world of Street Fighter 3. Prepare for battle.
One box could leave you messed up and fractured. Block these uppercuts, they may leave you captured. May the best fighter win and win again. Battle to the top until his life ends. But if his life ends and he starts to decay, may one of his street soldiers avenge me. See you talking to the game, couldn't be talking to me. I got enough to beat and more soldiers to bury. You know it just clicked in and made you realize this game is twice as hard. You see that with your own eyes. You're on the way to choose your type of life, cause you gotta. I tell you from now, which fighter will be the hotter. I don't think you want this one, just practice. Just challenge me when you're ready with your tactics. High punch and spin kicks, watch your back split. I see you in the air when I make you backflip. Get it on down. Select and make your first pick. Get it on down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Get it on down. Choose and pick the best one. Get it on down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get it on down. Select and make your first pick. Get it on down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Get it on down. Choose and pick the best one. Get it on down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select and make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select and make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One box could leave you messed up and fractured. Block these uppercuts, they may leave you captured. May the best fighter win and win again. Battle to the top until his life ends. But if his life ends and he starts to decay, may one of his street soldiers avenge me. See you talking to the game, couldn't be talking to me. I got enough to beat and more soldiers to bury. You know it just clicked in and made you realize this game is twice as hard. You see that with your own eyes. You're on the way to choose your type of life, cause you gotta. I tell you from now, which fighter will be the hotter. I don't think you want this one, just practice. Just challenge me when you're ready with your tactics. High punch and spin kicks, watch your back split. I see you in the air when I make you backflip. Get it on down. Select and make your first pick.
Yo, what is up, internet? It is your headmaster at the Gaming Academy, GQ Asian Dude, back with another episode of Gaming Academy. Welcome to our Tuesday night show, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, here in the very not so sunny and very chilly Pacific Northwest. So, one would argue it's Bellingham's number one video game podcast, or is it the only one? So, hey, why not? Hey, so yeah, if it's your first time here, this is where my friends and I make a show about video games and the things we love about said video games. And if you love video games too, I urge you to follow us on all the socials. It could be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, etc. And make sure you give us a like, subscribe, smash that like button, all that lingo that everybody talks about. With that said, let's move on to tonight's episode because it is cold out there, and I want to welcome you guys back to the Gaming Academy for those that check us out every Tuesday. So this is actually official season 2, class number 56, and tonight we're talking history, synergy, and the grind. As your headmaster, GQ Asian Dude, joined by Blazing Ace Nelson and aka Nick the Tragical Elite. And as always, our mission here is very simple. You learn to craft, you master the game, take those lessons back to the real life and win. Tonight in Memory Card Chronicles, we're traveling from Doom and Warcraft 2 all the way to Yakuza 2, Gris, and beyond. A full week of releases that shaped who we are and what we became as gamers. Nick fires up the newsroom with some quick bites across the rumor mill. Harada stepping away from Tekken, rip. Mega deals with Netflix and Warner Brothers, ouch. EA ownership drama, Diablo 4 updates, and Star Wars rumors. Bro, it is a stacked news cycle. After that, Ace takes us into the tech with the way of synergy. We're talking build crafting, gear, materia, mods, and why the right setup can be the complete transformation of your playstyle. Now, and we'll wrap this up tonight with as always, truly with the final boss, aka the grind. A look at why delayed gratification, patience, and long-term effort are still the key to real progress on screen and off screen. So grab your books, classes in session, charge those controllers, because let's get into it. I don't do this alone, folks, so let's meet the faculty for tonight. Let's bring the boys in here. What up, fellas?
Yo, what up?
Welcome. It's another week. How's y'all's week?
My week is stacked. I didn't realize that this week had a whole bunch of releases that were pretty much tailor-made to me, and it's the 20th anniversary of this franchise too. So It's a good week. Minus the fact that I'm half asleep with a 6-month-old. She just turned 6 months.
Oh, congratulations. When does one usually stop using months and turn years? I'm curious.
At least for me, I'd feel like maybe 2 years on, because usually, like I've seen some. It depends on the parent, right? I've seen some parents do like, oh, they're 18 months, or something like
Yeah,
that. It's like
yeah.
we could say a year and a half. Doesn't matter. It's kind of personal preference.
You've never heard anybody say 28-month-year-old?
No,
20-month
no, I
old?
haven't. No, we've get
That
like
sounds crazy.
4
You should
months. It's like, don't you mean 2 years?
usually
Yeah,
around
that's
the
probably a good one.
usually around the 2-year mark, most people just start going by years instead of months.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so
Yeah, I
about
guess
2 years.
And it does depend on what you're talking about with your kid. With months, it sounds more impressive. But how many hours did you play in a video game? You don't want to say months.
That's true.
Like if you look at my World of Warcraft / played, man, you're just going to say how many hours. Don't let them know how many years you've played.
Right. Shout out to Blue. Hello, Blue. How's it going?
Hey, Blue.
Yeah.
But for me, my weekend was actually pretty solid. I like I was mentioning in the green room, I picked up Marvel Cosmic Invasion, so I'll be starting on that on Thursday.
Sick.
Other than that, I've actually been going back and playing Final Fantasy 15 Comrades.
Wow, that's still on?
Surprisingly enough, yeah, there is still a server up for this thing. So
how's
multiplayer?
How's the net connection on that? Is it good?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a connection.
It is a connection. I mean, is it playable? Is it laggy or what?
It's playable and it's fluid, especially if you're playing it on the PS5, because play it on the PS5 and the load times are cut in more than half.
That's cool. That was one of the I even forgot there was a multiplayer in Final Fantasy 15. That's crazy. So it just tells you our attention span is small these days.
Hey, Fluffy.
Shout out to Fluffy also. Shouting us everybody out. Okay. Well, it is cold out here. It is cold outside. So let's don't forget to bring your video gamers inside the house. So let's get to remembering the good old days with some memory card. That is a nostalgia sound if I've ever heard one. That is the young little James over there, or GQ Asian dude, playing this PlayStation in the image. Yeah, I also had a beard back in school, so and I was born with a suit on also. So yeah, if it's your first time on the show, guys, thank you for coming. Also, this is the portion of this the podcast where we talk about Memory Card Chronicles, basically our memories of games that came out this week, starting from December 7th all the way to December 15th, right? 14th this week. So yeah, so if there's any games that you guys pop up and that you can say, I remember that game, put it in the chat, let us know what your memories are with it. So let's get started on the 7th over here. Okay, so first things first, let's go ahead and get this thing going, schmoving here. Boom.
There we go.
Yeah, you just had to put an image up. All right, the first game for tonight, they released on, was it January? I'm already skipping a month.
Get ahead of yourself.
December 9th.
The memory card has the wrong date input on it.
Bruv, I think your camera froze.
Maybe all of him froze. Well, while he's doing that, I'll just continue with this because it looks like I'm the only one that has something for this day. And big surprise, I don't know, I didn't see Andre in the chat yet, but he'll have zero surprise on his part when he knows that I picked this one. December 7th, 2006 in Japan, just in time for the Yakuza collection and re-release that just landed. Like I was talking about, it's the 20th anniversary, man. 20th anniversary. There's multiple games this week in gaming history where I've looked at it, I'm like, it's been how many years since this game came out? I wanted to highlight the second release for this day. This was a huge step up from the first game for people that didn't play it. I wouldn't say on the same levels like Uncharted to Uncharted 2. They took everything in the first game and just made it bigger, better, and just a little bit cleaner as well. So the big bad was a lot better. The writing was better. They really leaned into what made the first Yakuza really good, but expanded the world a lot. Um, I've heard from a fair amount of like long-term fans when they go back and like look at this one in particular, it kind of hits the sweet spot for a lot of people, just in terms of like the tone versus the stiffness in the first one, and the silliness that comes like later on in the series. That's
Yeah.
kind of been the thing we've talked about on this podcast multiple times about my love for this series is that kind of like melodrama, that classic like Yakuza gangster kind of like story that you get in a lot of like those older like Japanese films in this kind of like genre,
Mhm.
and then the like stupid over the top silliness you see in like Pirate Yakuza, for example. The
Or I mean, something as simple and something as simple and classic as Kiryu squaring up on a tiger,
right,
a
getting Tiger Drop.
a full-sized National Geographic tiger.
I'd be really interested for fans in the chat and even if anyone in the panel played some of the games, like what you prefer. Like I said, having the blend, I think, is one of the reasons this series works, at
Mhm.
least nowadays. So I don't know if you like prefer the more gritty, real story, or if you prefer more of the silliness. I think you kind of, you know how you play some games and you need to take a break and go do something else. A good example is like survival games. Like I'm done building the base, I want to go just collect stuff. Like No Man's
Yeah.
Sky is a great example of I just want to collect some materials for a little bit. I don't want to worry about like building settlements or doing all this other jazz. Yakuza 2 was that blend where it's like you got the super serious moments, but enough silliness so you don't feel like bogged down or weighed down by something that's just like too gritty. Like I said, the first game especially was like a little stiff just because it was so focused on that.
Isn't Ishin like that too? Like it is a little bit stiff because it's older.
What's that?
Ishin, right? Wasn't Ishin kind of the same way?
Ishin, yes and no. It involved a little more silliness because that was a little bit later in the series as well. Like it was basically after three, I want to say. I don't know. It's been a while since I looked at the timeline. But that one was just kind of like in Edo, Japan. So that one did have some silliness for sure. But the first Yakuza was very like focused on that gritty real story. If you've ever seen any of those like the Yakuza outrage the Yakuza film that
Mhm.
was done with Beat Takeshi, like those ones are like the gritty real like crime story kind of thing. I definitely
It's
recommend
cool.
watching those if you're a fan of it. Like they're still really good to this day. But you see how the game series Yakuza kind of took a little bit of that melodrama and realistic attitude and just wanted to have some fun as well and found that balance with two. Anyway, that's what I have for the day.
Nice. Nice. Well, I mean, on the next day on the 8th, it's still more Yakuza.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say quick. So on the 8th, I just really wanted to point out, like, released on this day. That's what I was saying in the opening.
Yeah.
On the 8th in 2005 was Yakuza 1, and 2015 was Yakuza 5, and 2016 in Japan was Yakuza 6, and then this year the Kiwami 1 and 2 collection. So I won't spend a lot of time on that. Just wanted to shout out how I kind of like grew up watching a lot of these characters mostly grow old. Like it's a little sus until the more recent games. Kiryu's always looking a little bit more defined, a little bit younger, despite the fact he's getting older. But man, just looking at it as a broad scope, six hits different
Punching the
nowadays.
chandelier down. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
That is some Kratos like energy right there.
It's just a lot of good memories, but six hits different. Six, you kind of have this thing where you're taking care of a baby, like he is like a father, like a full on
Yeah.
dad figure in the game. And now that I have my own, like, man, yeah, six. I think I like six even
Mule.
better now that I've gotten a little bit older and had a little bit of experience. Shout out to Jagos as well for one of the best karaoke
What about
songs in the entire series.
what about the man who erases name? Where does that come from? Where, like which in the series is that?
That's Gaiden. So that one takes place after six, before he comes back in Infinite Wealth. So it kind of bridges the gap. It's his
Okay.
story.
But it plays more
Because
like traditional Yakuza, right?
right, that one plays more like the traditional one with some updates to it, but it's basically following the parallel line of what was Kiryu doing after six when he died, and
Yeah.
then it switches to Ichiban going into Like a Dragon, right? So they want to know what happened because Kiryu came back into the fold with the most
Right.
recent title. So
Andre,
yeah,
I think Andre got it. Basically, it's like MGS Ground Zeroes more or so a prologue.
yeah, and Gaiden actually sold really well, which was, I mean, a little surprising given like how little fanfare it had. It just kind of just came out and it, went back to Kiryu. So people were like, for a while there was always that comment about just like I would kind of burned out on just playing Kiryu, and it's just like,
Nah.
no man,
People are loyal. They got the branding. Look, Kiryu's the face, right? So I get it.
They just, speaking of this 20-year anniversary, they just did a fan poll to figure out the most popular characters in the entire series.
Yeah.
And number one was Goro Majima.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
To no one's surprise,
I don't even play the game, and I know who that is.
Right.
It's like that's how you know that character is notorious. So that's my share of that. All right. Well, on the 8th, also we have a really fun little game here that Ace decided to add into the tussle. How dare you add this game in? But it's all good. It's all good because we're going back to the streets, aka Street Hoop.
yes.
It was Street Hoop in the US and then like Dunk Dream in like everywhere else in the world, I think.
Dunk Dream and Street Slam, I believe.
Also, Dunk Dream is a dope ass name. Like,
Right.
how do we not have a game called Dunk Dream right now? It could be anything. Yeah, a coffee game.
But Street Hoop was definitely like, this was that game where, like, when NBA Jam first came out, I was still kind of, not really feeling it because, I thought it was just, another, I honestly just thought it was another sports game. I wasn't too keyed into it just yet. But I remember running across Street Hoop on one of the Neo Geo cabinets
Heck yeah.
in my hometown, and it was on the same machine as Baseball Stars.
Nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say Neo Geo
Yeah.
is hell when you look at this.
You clearly got the sports Neo Geo machine in the neighborhood.
Right. But I sat down and just kind of started messing around with Street Hoop, and I'm like, hold up.
Did this come out first versus NBA Jam?
I'm trying to remember because again, Street Hoop came
I
out in
feel like
94.
Jam came out before then because this was the arcade release, right? So this was the first release, and this was in Japan in '94. At least according to what
Yeah, what was the NBA Jam
Ace had
arcade?
here.
Right. The OG NBA Jam came out in 93.
Oh, okay, so they did have their own version. Okay, cool. That's cool. No, I think it's great. And the fact you don't have to have the NBA license to make an NBA Jam game, I think it's
Right.
Yeah, that's probably what it was, and that's why Neo Geo came out with this because Jam probably took off and Midway had that unlock.
Mhm.
Because because it was Tournament Edition came out the year after.
Yep.
Mhm.
I'm
So
s-
yeah, with
that's
this,
fun.
Neo Geo basically said, you know what? Instead of doing like full on NBA teams, let's just do countries, make it like the World Cup, but for 3-on-3 pickup basketball.
Oh, Jagos, let me highlight that. My man said it was NBA Jam or Looney Tunes B-Ball. I love that
Oh.
game. That game's so sick. Every character got powers. It's so good.
There's your extra credit, folks.
Give this guy extra points.
But yeah, and it was just super fun. Like this actually got me to go back and take a look at NBA Jam, and I'm like, okay, so we have NBA Jam, we have Street Hoop, and I'm sitting here like, I'm spoiled for choice. I might actually start getting more into basketball
Yeah.
games.
The
And it was-
90s was really good for B-ball. That's all I gotta say. Like,
Yeah.
it was beautiful for basketball.
like
And it
both-
was even better for us, like growing up in the Chicago area. Like,
Oh
it
my
became,
God,
like, the
We ruled the
launch
world.
pad. Yeah, man, we were spoiled.
Not to go away from video games, but in my Instagram like algorithm, for some reason, it like decided to hate on LeBron and just give MJ like props. Like I just started seeing a bunch of posts about LeBron's trash. I don't want to start anything up, chat. All right, I don't know how you feel. I'm just saying
Sounds like you're trying to.
LBJ is trash.
Now, actually, okay, really quickly, what system Like, what system was Looney Tunes B-Ball on? 'Cause
SNES.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to go and grab that then.
I played it on SNES, but I'm sure it's on Genesis also, but SNES for sure.
See, that's another one I'm gonna have to add to the ZSNES.
Yeah, and I think they did like another one for like PlayStation 1 era, but the SNES one is superior because it's like 2D pixel art still, and it
Word.
looks like and it feels like this game. Yeah.
Oh, then I gotta grab it.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. All right. Next one. What we got? Let's see here. Oh, I got
You,
it.
my guy.
I got it. Right here. Let me open up this link. This link right here. All right, it's loading. Slow tonight. All right. Well, I don't know if you guys know I've ever heard about this game. I don't know if anybody even cares about Tekken.
A
According
little indie darling.
yeah, according to Rodriguez, it's Tekken, not Tekken. Y'all remember that from the Game Awards?
Oh, I remember.
I was like, wow, she called it Tekken. That's crazy. But yes, Tekken had released in the arcades in what is this 1994. I actually wasn't even in America yet when I was about to leave the Philippines from high school and go to America. So like because my parents decided for me to go to school there for a year to like experience traditional schooling, right? And so I was there, and I would be at my story. My memory card chronicle for this was me going to the mall, like with my buddies and stuff. And like true Asian like anime and shows. High school Asian kids love the arcade. It is true. It is a stereotype because it's a fact. And we'd all go and we'd all hang out after school at the arcade at the mall. We'd all just walk there because everyone's pretty chill. And then they had this game on there, and I was like, "Whoa, this is cool!" Like a fighting game because I love fighting games. And it was weird because it wasn't like Street Fighter. It wasn't Mortal Kombat. This was like the beginning of the 3D era, like, and it wasn't Virtual Fighter. So I thought like this is like another Virtual Fighter clone, right? You know how like there's the mainline game, which in this case Virtual Fighter is the main. So I thought this was just a rigid clone of that. But then I played it and I was like, this doesn't feel like Virtual Fighter. Hits feel impactful, right? And it was still floaty when you jumped because I was still getting used to the jump. But I just recall having a good memory with this game. I tried because he looked like the Ryu. But then like I kind of like brushed it off because I was really I saw images of like, you get your PlayStation at home, and the first game on there was like Battle Arena Toshinden. And I thought like, oh man, this is way cooler. They got weapons, they look more anime-y, right? Anime-ish. So as a 14-year-old that didn't really know much about like, the games at the time, I was all about Team Battle Arena Toshinden versus Tekken. Little did I know, 30 years later plus more, Tekken will dominate the fighting game scene versus Battle Arena Toshinden that we don't even know about anymore. So hopefully it returns in some way or form. What would be really ironic to see Battle Arena Toshinden characters in a Soul Calibur. That would be insane.
Dope as hell.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And so we have to rely on Mugen.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, who even owns Battle Arena Toshinden? Because last time I checked, wasn't it Sony? Like, didn't they own that? But it changed on 3. I don't know what happened after that. So that'd be an interesting one. But yeah, it's a weapon fighter. I think it totally deserves to be in Soul Calibur with the Soul Calibur like makeup of the characters. So that'd be fun. Eventually, I would get this as like one of my first games on PlayStation, but short-lived because I would get Tekken 2. But I played a lot of this at my friend's house, and I picked Law at the time because I realized he was just Bruce Lee. And I was a Law main back in the day, guys.
Yeah.
Now I'm a Jin player, like a scrub. So
you were a Law main, just like Michael Jackson.
Yep, everybody's a Law main until they find a real character. That's usually how it works. So, yeah, that's Card Chronicle of Tekken. That's right, Tekken. I love saying that.
The original devs for Battle Arena Toshinden was Tamsoft.
Wow. That's
which
a
you're gonna
reach.
know for also they did a lot of work on the Senran Kagura and Onechambara series.
That makes lots of sense now.
So they kind of moved that way. The last like couple that they've released has been the Bleach Rebirth of Souls that came out on Xbox. That was pretty
They made
popular.
that game. No way.
They were part of it, a part of the team that made
Yeah.
it. Melty Blood on Xbox One, and then like the last one before then was like they did a couple releases that came out on Switch, and a couple like again the Onechambara, Senran Kagura. They also did Captain Tsubasa: Rise of New Champions.
Oh,
So
I
they've-
like, dude,
they've
that is a
moved on.
soccer game right there. That's all I gotta say. Have you guys played that? Since we're on sports earlier. So
Not yet.
Captain Tsubasa is like Soccer Slam or Red Card. You guys played Red Card?
I played Red Card, yeah.
Yeah, Red Card, but like anime. So think of that. It's insane. Like super hype kicks and stuff. But anyway, speaking of super hype, this game, my quick memory of this, this is also Nick's released. When did this release? On 1995 as well, on December 9th. I saw this game on the shelf and I was like, whoa, it's like the first game, but they're on boats. That's literally what I said to myself as a kid. It's like the first game, but they're on boats and there's pirates now. So let me show you what the hell I'm talking about, because you'll probably agree with me or agree with, 12-year-old James.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, it's just like the art of the first game, but they're pirates now. So
Pirates so
Cool.
hot right now.
it was cool. That's all I gotta say. It was really cool.
It's very cool. My big note for this when I first saw it was like, it's been 30 years since Warcraft 2?
Oh my god.
What
shit,
the
right.
hell? What the hell? How old am
Oh.
I? God, I'm
Oh.
feeling it. Yeah, I
Oh,
was feeling it. I was feeling it when I saw this. Jagos in chat talking about big on StarCraft. So was I. I did get my start in Warcraft 2 as far as like the series went, but I really played a lot of StarCraft more than Warcraft 2. That was just like the thing I was really into. Was really into sci-fi at the time. But this game in particular, I really remember because it really did expand, not just like pirates, but this game, I feel like we had this discussion a little bit when I did our retrospective last week, where we were talking about RTS becoming iconic and what games kind of put it on the map, like the Command and
Yeah.
Conquer series and the work that Westwood did. Warcraft 2 was one of those games as well. It kind of solidified a lot of the stuff we had as far as like what RTS would be for at least the next 10 years after this game released, because it just did it so well. It not only did this game add more with like land, sea, and air units, but the campaigns had full-on voice acting built out, and it built out the world so much more. It created a base for Warcraft and the world that it was going to expand into with all of its later titles, including like World of Warcraft. Like a lot of stuff was really set in stone with this, or at least started that kind of lore ball rolling,
Okay.
right? And like it says on plenty of the boxes, man, like BattleNet multiplayer put this on the map.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's like wasn't that like one of the first like multiplayer online ish games?
One of the
we
first
had?
ones on that scale. I
Okay,
feel
yeah.
like that's where this one really
God,
came
the
in.
art's so good. Look at this art.
It's still good. When I played the the anniversary collection they came out with, or like the update, the HD collection of this one, I still go back to the old graphics. On the first game, it's a little rougher, it's a little harder to
Yeah.
get the sprites, but the second one is iconic still. Like, and it looks still so good.
Ace, you
Yeah,
had something?
Warcraft 2, like Warcraft 2 is basic. Warcraft 2 basically did for RTSs what Street Fighter 2 did for fighting.
Facts right there. I agree with that. Yeah, they just like in the ocean of like, RTS games out there during that time, this was like the benchmark. This is like, you have to make it better than this, otherwise it's not good. That's kind of how it was from what I
Yeah.
remember. Sound, graphics, gameplay, it was everything, man. This, even writing, right? It even had weird Easter eggs. Like if you clicked on the seal a billion times, they explode,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't know if you all remember. Knew
Oh,
that
yeah.
shit? So
Well, I mean, this was the one where I really got into like, just like constantly clicking on the units just to see what else they would say because of
Oh yeah.
all the different lines that were recorded for the voice acting, and it was so much fun to just
mhm.
mess around with.
I concur completely. Matter of fact, just watching this gameplay just makes me want to like fired up and be like, okay, I just want to try it. Just want to play it again. You know,
It's still fun. It
Yeah.
still plays really tight. It maybe doesn't have a lot of like the depth you get on like a lot of modern RTSs, but that's what made this one so good. What it does well.
Yeah, it was just like anything outside of this is just excessive. This is like the core, right, of
Right.
like RTS games right here. So I get it. I just remember being a kid and being like, man, this is pretty. It sounds good because like back then, like you know, on Super Nintendo, we didn't get a lot of voice acting on our games, you know, and this was like, wow, like it's talking to me. That's so cool. Like it's insane. Like PC gaming back then, way more appreciated than
Oh yeah.
Like I remember all the Saturday nights where I was hanging out over at my friend's place playing this, and I wanted to hear the voice acting, but I had to keep the volume down so that way I didn't wake anyone up while I was up at like midnight.
Yeah, back before we all had like headphones that we get
Headphones,
to
yeah.
listen to our games on. You had the old like giant white speakers right
Mhm.
next to them or attached to your monitor in my case.
All right. Well, we're gonna go back to the past here. We're gonna fast forward. Well, not fast, but the day after, back in 1993, this bad boy came out, and I'm gonna use the image that I remember seeing at the shelf because this is what I remember seeing
Yep.
over
The
there.
ultimate 3D virtual reality game.
Bro, look at the format.
1.666.
Look at the format, though. 3.5 disc. That's right. This was on a floppy disk, 1.4 megabytes times 3, right? And this was officially the shareware version of this is only the first episode of Doom. I think it's like what, 4 stages or something like that.
Mhm.
And after you beat it, you have to order the game through a catalog or a phone call, and they mail it to you. Isn't that insane, kids? Oh my god! Remember that? No, you don't, because you're young and we're fossils. So if yeah, I don't even think you guys know what shareware means back yeah, back. But yeah, back before like DLC and downloading stuff online, I would argue shareware was like the demo, but like an extended demo, right? Usually demos are like you just get a feel of the gameplay. It's a few hours in, but this was literally the first episode, the first chapter, and then if you liked it, you just buy the game. And I think wasn't this also revolutionized too? Like
Yeah.
the way they sold this was like gangbusters.
Shareware was a thing already, but Doom on shareware like sent that skyrocketing
Yeah,
because
that's
plenty of
kinda
other
what I'm
places
getting
had
at.
done like demos before, things very similar to it. One of the retrospectives I already had planned was kind of looking at the shareware thing because we've talked about it multiple times. It's
Yeah.
something that I feel is missed
Mhm.
nowadays because we've talked, you two have talked before about how much you miss demo discs and stuff.
Right.
And
And
shareware was a vibe.
yeah, and with the shareware, I mean, it was like Doom had popularized
Ah,
it
yes.
big time, but like a lot of the earlier shareware stuff, I believe did it come from Apogee Software?
Apogee was one of the
Raptor.
original like big like companies that got behind it as like their main model.
Yeah.
A couple
Oh,
other
and look-
companies were doing it
look at-
before. It was mostly like software companies, not really
Yeah.
just for games, but like software products.
And look at the label on the disc. To install Doom, type install and
Because
press
it was DOS. That's why. There was no Windows yet. Because I remember installing this myself because I do know DOS. Right. And I mean, I don't remember a lot of it, but all you need is cd/directory install.exe. That's all you need. You're
Mhm.
done. Also, I never noticed this, but look at the version of the game. Isn't that neat
Yep.
for Doom?
Version
That's kinda cool.
1.6.
It only took me like, 40 years to realize it, that it's there. But yeah, look at the box though.
Mm.
So crazy.
So that is the that's an eBay listing for the original Doom shareware 3.5-inch floppy. $180.
Oof. Man, I feel like I had this somewhere in like the closet, but the memory card chronicle I have of this is literally me going to Micro Center with my dad. And that's where I also saw Tides of War, right? I also saw this because, I think like in magazines like EGMs at the time, Game Pros, I was reading this like game that was not on anything but PC and everybody was loving it. And I was like, I wish I had a computer that ran this. luckily for me, my dad had a computer that he used to work, and I think it was like a 33 megahertz computer at the time as a processor, an Intel 33 megahertz or 133, something really slow. And he had a disk drive with it, like unfortunately the right size. And I said, Dad, can I just buy this and like play it on your computer, even though it's a work computer, right? And he was like, yeah, sure. It's like less than five. I think it was like less than $10 for the shareware, something like that. And he was just like, check it out. I liked it. He thought it was cool. My mom hated it. And here's the kicker. Since it was a work computer, it did not have a sound card in it. So I was actually playing Doom with no sound for the longest time until my dad bought a sound blaster from last episode. And then I officially had Doom, and I heard the music and the track and the gunshots and the demons, and it was way cooler with sound, right? And my mom definitely hated it. Yeah, and then I think that's probably why she also didn't like Duke Nukem, because she hated Doom anyway. Thought it was violent. She fell into that trap of like, kids playing violent video games, probably. And yes, I do remember those monsters from the game as well. What is this? The incredible 3D sequel to Wolfenstein. That's funny.
This was the MicroStar packaging when they had the floppy disks on.
Oh man, MicroStar. I remember that brand too. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's a wide variety of Doom discs. The one that we showed before, the white and black one, was a pretty common one. That's why I remember too. But there was like some red ones, some blue ones, depending who you got it through, because some other services were like selling it. There's an entire catalog online of like in the Doom forums of just how they've just stored this stuff.
I think that is cool. I think it is. I also love the fact that there was no consistent like artwork design for it or box art for it, right? We're just seeing different like, oh, this is our take on it because we're selling it. Right? That's kind of fun. So there's no uniformity. It's really cool. And then it turns out it becomes one of the best games in the industry. Well, fantastic. I love that. Well, the next game came out the same day, but in 1994, a year later. Not exactly Doom, but maybe Doom backwards with Woods.
and flipped.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one was my pick. So I know it's not one of the games that set the world on fire on the 10th in gaming history, but it was one that set my world on fire because I remember very clearly having this game as a kid. My dad was super into Tetris, and that was like what he played. That and Duck Hunt, like he'd be able to like snipe Duck Hunt from the other side of the basement behind the bar, and I had to be close to get it. Like I was bad, he was good at it. But Tetris is another one of his loves, so we found basically a Tetris like that I remember getting. Again, it was the cover art that really sold me on it. I just always remember that. It's something that sticks out in my head. The big one here for me is just remembering that Toad, as you see in the gameplay, is actually in the puzzle,
I forgot about that.
interacting and like lining up the enemies to take them out. I think I remember them. You could do diagonal too with this one. So it was like Tetris, but slightly upped a little bit, and there's the bombs as well. So yeah, I just kind of, like, no pun intended, get a blast of nostalgia when I see the label just by itself. But yeah, this is something that just stuck out of my own personal gaming history. Just something that's like, oh, my dad kind of plays a game like this, but this one is more for me and something that I'm interested in. And I recognize Toad. It kind of looks like the sprite from Mario 2. So it's just, that's what I remember when this game came out. And that's why I remember every time I see that damn cover art.
And like shoulder tackling like the pieces.
Yeah. Well, it's like now you get to be Toad taking out Wario, who's trying to like, destroy everything. You got Birdo up on the screen too. Yeah, it was a different vibe.
Yeah, I think this game got overshadowed by Yoshi's Cookie, because I remember I remember more Yoshi's Cookie than Wario's would. So,
and maybe that was, I had Yoshi's Cookie at home. This is what my parents were able to get me. It was like I got the knockoff version. It's like Wario. It's like Mario. That's good enough.
That kind of the white pieces remind me of the viruses from Dr. Mario. So it's all relative, right? So
yeah.
Fun. I love that. All right. To the next one here. This one is a personal fave. I highly recommend it for y'all's that are down to play a chill, relaxing game at home on basically any platform, you can get this on your PlayStation, your Switch, your PC, your laptop, etc. This is Kingdom Two Crowns, and I'll pull up the gameplay here. If you guys don't know much about this, this is a base building game, and you control. And there's the unique factor about this game is that you don't know anything about it. So in the beginning, the tutorial, the ghost just tells you to do like 3 things: build walls, right, and build your city, and then tells you to cut down trees, expand, build, expand, build, expand. But to find the secrets of the game, which is just the gameplay, you just have to play it. There's no book, there's no tutorial outside of this like 2 minutes in the beginning. After that ghost is gone, that's it. You're on your own. And last time we talked about discovering games by just playing them. The allure of this game is literally that. And why am I using this as a memory card chronicle? And I think because since this game came out in what 2018. So this came out like right before COVID. And I played this game a lot during COVID. And I remember this game like passing time really well. And I was like very chill about it. Like the game is relaxing. It does get stressful in certain parts, but that's the part of the challenge. But why is it a memory card chronicle? Because I think when I started playing this game again, it kind of brought me back to the Nintendo era when I would rent a game, bring it home. They never included the manual for it. So I would just have to play the game with no instruction and discover things in the game by myself. I had to press a series of combination of buttons. I had to try different things, right? And it just made me feel like I was like, I'm not going to say a kid again, but it made me go back to that experience where it was just me in the game. And I tried really hard not to go online, spoil certain things, and look at like, for example, you'll come across this fountain. You're like, what do I do with this? What are these symbols above it? What is that? Right? And because you haven't seen anything like that yet. This is the first stage. And a lot of the game is this. It's about discovery. It's about exploring. And then as you play, you'll start to learn and get better. And you'll start to realize some things match up and line up. And you're like, oh, this goes with that. And sometimes you have to build certain things by just discovering it. And with video games, I suggest, if you want the full experience of something, try to avoid the lure and the temptation to look it up online and just go for that discovery, no matter how frustrating it is, right? As a matter of fact, if you know somebody that has played the game, I would highly recommend having a conversation with them about the game. It'll definitely bring you back to what it was back in the day. And that's kind of just my MCC with Kingdom Two Crowns. It was designed that way on purpose. And I don't know if they intended to do it that way, but I just ended up experiencing this game like literally made me feel like I was like 12 again. And, and that was a good feeling because I got to experience video games again for the first time. Right. And it was a nice reset mentally for my experience in my relationship with video games. So thank you for coming to my TED Talk. So that was a good one for me.
I was going to say this one I actually remember because this was one that I tried at PAX before it launched. This is one of those like PAX 10 titles where they have some indie devs that show off their work of something that's like coming out soon or something that's like early in production. I do remember playing this at PAX and just remember the devs loved this. They had a lot of passion for it, and it was really cool to see.
Yeah, and I can tell by playing it. Also, the pixel art definitely helped a lot. But just I don't know. I give it a shot, guys. It should be super cheap, very inexpensive, and I definitely recommend it as like a chill, relaxed game. Sit back, listen to the music, the ambiance, and just play the game. All right. Now here's a game that's not chill. But I remember seeing this game and its artwork and the screenshots on an EGM magazine, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is way cooler than Street Fighter." And this would be the art of fighting. But hey, take it away, my friend.
Man, the art of fighting like this. Now, as as Nick mentioned, as we were, getting everything set up for this week's session, there were a good chunk of fighting games that actually came out around around this time of the year. But I wanted to key in on Art of Fighting because number one, it's a series that I haven't really focused on in depth before, and number two, between the sprite work and the overall presentation, even of the story as you play through the game, it was so unique, even for its time. Like Art of Fighting looks and plays a lot like old school martial arts action movies back in the 90s. So you had your classic martial arts fighter, if you decide to pick Ryo, but then you had like the side character, like the second protagonist that, didn't look like he was much of a fighter, but was still able to, kick ass with the lead hero. So that's your Ryo, that's your Robert. But there was also like one of the things that kind of told the story of the game was the meter management in the game and how you actually had a stamina bar for your special moves and even for your supers, which for years I still hadn't even been able to discover until a good while later. But this is also like one of the first games where you actually saw damage on the characters on the fly over the course of the fight. You see Robert's face is getting bruised up and bloody while he's taking those hits, and that's another something that had never been done in fighting games up until that point. So, from a presentation and technical standpoint, pretty much Andre said it best. Art of Fighting is a big deal.
I'm always going to remember this game for the legally distinct Jean-Claude Van Damme guy on the cover. Every time I see it, it looks just like him. Wasn't that he was originally supposed to be the guy for it, or supposed to be in it?
Van Damme was no, he was supposed to be in Mortal Kombat.
But I thought they were trying to put him into Art of Fighting because he didn't end up in Mortal Kombat. That's why that guy in the front cover looks. I thought I remember something about that. But anyway, I digress. James, it looks like you're muted.
I was gonna say it's probably because that was what was hot at the time, like Van Damme or martial arts, right? Because you're right. Because if you look at that image on the art, he's basically Van Damme from Double Impact, like the brother, right? It's basically like this was Double Impact, the game, but like it wasn't too. He didn't look like Ryo because Ryo was basically the mock of Ryu at this point. Because what was the history, Ace? Like these two were SNK and Capcom were beefing, right? So the character designs were actually teasing from off each other, right? Because Dan is a joke between Ryo and Robert combined,
yep,
right? And then Ryo is a joke of Ryu because they're ex Capcom devs. So this was definitely a product of its time. Now,
and actually, Robert, like especially going off of his design in this game, Robert is actually more of a analog for Steven Seagal.
Yeah, I mean, I was considering that too. But like the image in the Art of Fighting cover, I was definitely like, if you look it up, Jean-Claude Van Damme in Double Impact, like not the main Van Damme, but the brother Van Damme, he has his hairstyle just like that too, right? And you see, he does. You want to put it up?
I'll see if I can find it. That was Double Impact, right?
Yeah, but the thing that I wanted to note about this game was like this also had huge character models. Like in comparison to Street Fighter, like I know they're just zoomed in, but like this is super impressive watching this in the arcade for the first time.
Yeah,
and
that actually dovetails right into my
yes.
Damn.
Art of Fighting.
Dovetails into my brief little memory card chronicle for this because the big thing that drew me to Art of Fighting when I first saw it in the arcades was the size of the sprites, and then just seeing it like zoom in when the fight got close. I was like, what? Like when the fight zoomed in, I had to zoom in. Like, hold up, what are we doing here?
Yep. And they added a Mortal Kombat bonus stage here also. So man, this is what I mean when I say like competition breeds innovation. Because everybody got to add all their thing to it because like, oh, Mortal Kombat has this. Oh, we got to add that too and more, right?
And they brought this mini game back for City of the Wolves.
Yeah, and they knew that. Like, I think like they kind of went back and went, what made these games super fun and memorable. So
Yep.
Yeah. And hey, I backed out of this day because like I said, there was a lot of fighting games this day, just like a couple more. Just to say like how big of a day this day was, December 11th. Eternal Champions, Real Bout Fatal Fury,
woo,
also had Sam Show 5 all in that day in gaming history.
Yep.
SNK Day basically. So they know their target market. Well, I
And
was
actually, one,
yeah.
one more little tidbit that I just kind of noticed. Art of Fighting, the original Art of Fighting came out on this day. Today is also the day that the boss, Mr. Big, was added to City of the Wolves.
That's on purpose. That's 100%. They have those calendars on their desks, and they go, "This would be cool if we did it this day."
Right.
That's on purpose. Yeah, for sure. I love that. It's like they're fans of their own products. It's like, yeah. Going back, speaking of games that you know are I don't even know what I was going to say, but like innovation and games that need to come back in certain ways or form. This was Gauntlet's attempt at making it a little bit different than normal, going outside of the frame of arcadey into more narrative-driven gameplay. This came out on December 12th, 2005. So, Nick, tell us a little about the Seven Sorrows.
Well, I want to call this one out because it's another example of what we've been talking about a lot lately was our experience behind the counter working in video game stores for so long. Co-op games, couch co-op especially, like what do you got? What is there? I really got, like my significant other or my friend into games, but we only have one console and it's just at my place. What do you got? Gauntlet was another one of those. We talked about Champions before. I think the 64 Gauntlet Dark Legacy?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that right? Okay.
Dark Legacy.
It all starts to blend together. That one was my favorite growing up. So I remember when these games came out because there was two in this generation. This one especially, though, we would always recommend to people because again, there's not a lot of couch co-op games in that era. And we'd always hit up Co-Optimus to see what it would be. But this one was kind of considered a little flawed. Like you said, they tried to go in a little bit of a different direction, tried to update it. There's not, like I said, not a lot of co-op stuff. So that was kind of weighed against what this game was seen as, which was pretty repetitive, kind of basic in terms of story. Longtime fans kind of felt the ick when you're looking at this. It's just like, I really want a new Gauntlet game. This wasn't it, homie. But it is okay in short bursts kind of thing. So if you're looking for something quick, it's definitely one. But this was kind of that gap where we had this game for long time, Gauntlet fans. You didn't see a lot of Gauntlet after this.
No, this was basically the final one until the remake had released by Arrowhead Studio. Great one, by the way, great remake. This to me, my experience with this one, 2005 was a weird era for PS2, Xbox because we were kind of leading into the edgier times of gaming, right? A lot of extreme, lots of like buff dudes, and just like that was kind of like the jam at the time, right? Hyper masculinity and stuff like that.
The God of War era.
Yeah, God of War era. And Gauntlet has always been like an arcade quarter muncher, and it's been like it's been always released by Midway, and they take their games like in a goofy way. I mean, they turn basketball and football into something super like quirky and fun, right? And Gauntlet kind of tried to go away from that, and it wasn't the original. It also wasn't another game that I would refer this to that it's trying to be. And if you guys haven't played it yet, I would check it out. Is Demon's Stone on the PlayStation and Xbox? It's like Lord of the Rings, Return of the King on the PlayStation. 2-player co-op, fantasy adventure, action, right? And maybe it was just me, but these games kind of came out at the same time, right? Because maybe Lord of the Rings is popular, so fantasy action maybe was like, let's make games that are like that. And I remember just playing this, and I was like, this feels like old Gauntlet, but it's like too serious. So this is one of those things where like, from my experience in my Memory Card Chronicle, I kind of play this like enjoying it, but at the same time, I was like, I kind of miss goofy Dark Legacy, Red Wizard, Blue Valkyrie, Gauntlet, because this is so edgy and so serious.
Well, this is kind of like about that era where you started seeing a bunch of games that had that like brown color palette, very gritty, real kind of thing. It was the style at the time. Like it definitely had that vibe. Like I said, I just as a longtime fan, same thing, man. I preferred the old ones, the kind of just jump in, jump out, just goofiness of it. When it took itself too seriously, that's when it lost me.
Yeah. There you go. There you go, devs. You gotta go what you're good with, man. Man.
Yeah, be like Jason Statham.
Be bald?
Well, no, just stick with what you're good with. I mean,
That's true.
just like a recent interview, he's like, "Look, I'm not an actor. I mean, I was literally plucked from obscurity, selling jewelry on the street, and someone saw that I could punch people really good, so I'm gonna stick with it."
That is true. All right. Well, speaking of sticking with it, I don't know if that's relatable to this game because I've never played it. But Nick, tell us about Grist because this is on my list.
It should definitely be on your list, and it should be in a lot of people's lists. I'll be the first to admit that I'm not the strongest puzzle platforming game lover. I don't usually have like the patience for it. Sometimes I don't usually get pulled into it, but I have been pulled into the game when it does something different or something unique, and that's what this game is. And what I remember playing, I really loved this one. As a fan of games like Ori and the Blind Forest, like really visually compelling kind of like worlds and what they do with it and how they kind of tie that in. I really dug the style of this game. One really cool thing I remember about this, and just like looking back at the video and looking back at my notes when I was typing about this because I completely forgot it was out in December. The entire game narrative is done wordlessly. It completely relies on music, animation, and imagery, like you're kind of seeing right now. So it had very distinct visuals when it came out, very unique storytelling. The cover art that you showed first was something that stuck out because it was very different compared to what we were seeing on the shelf all the time. It's a lot of monotony and the kind of same games we're seeing. But honestly, it's just a beautiful game that I think gets missed when you're talking about different ways of storytelling in different mediums. It definitely stands out. And like I said, like if you haven't given it a shot, I definitely recommend it, especially if you're looking at some way to have like just a different visual storytelling in the way that it
Art.
happens.
Look at this art.
Yeah, the art's great. And like I said, the music stood out. I remember we were selling vinyls of this too. It was kind of one of those ones with like Celeste was another one of those puzzle platformers that kind of stood out right around this era and this time. But the entire, like I said, the entire narrative being done wordlessly, you actually get to understand the character's journey as like, if I remember right, because again, it all kind of blends together. If I remember right, there was a big mental struggle that the character was having difficulty like coming to terms with these feelings and everything going on in their life. And this is basically a story of their journey, and again, it's being told by visuals and sound and all these cues. So it's just a very unique game during a time where you don't have that kind of like in-depth storytelling, but it's in this puzzle platforming package. So
Yeah.
just a different way of telling the story, man. I think it's something a lot of people should check out. And like I said, the art itself just speaks for it. It's really hard to tell just by streaming on this screen, but seeing this in like a 4K TV or something, it's
Oh,
beautiful.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's kind of funny because like Silent Hill is about grief also, but it's told in a different entire, dimension. And this is kind of the same topic, just also told in a different entire dimension. So this is I think one of the reasons why video games are so cool because you can take that and go in the direction you want it to go, but still have that same meaning and narrative behind it. I was gonna say like when I saw this, I thought of two things. I thought of Journey. You guys remember Journey, right?
Oh yeah.
And also for some reason, I don't know why, Samurai Jack. It for some reason it brings me back to Samurai Jack. Maybe just the way the world building was in Samurai Jack, but like I know the art is like not really exactly the same, but I don't know. It's just there's something there that I'm missing out on Samurai Jack that I'm seeing that when I see this, I see Samurai Jack. That's fun.
Yeah, fair enough.
All
Well,
right.
sweet. Check it out if you
Check it
haven't
out.
already.
Check it out. Here's another game you should check out because it is way cooler than Destiny. And Ace plays this all the time, so check out his channel for this game.
Now, with this one in particular, no, Warframe itself, the base game did not come out on this day. However, we are, as of sorry, as of December 10th, as of December 13th, it will have been a full year since one of the most recent and major story expansions for Warframe released, that being Warframe 1999. Now, the 99 expansion literally takes the story, takes the lore back to, what would basically be alternate history, alternate turn of the century, Earth. And you get to see, some of the classic Warframes as, what they were prior to, all the main experiments that made the Warframes as they are today. So you actually see more human variants to Excalibur, Mag, Saren, Frost, and you're told, and you get to experience, this fictional Eastern European setting where you've got your main heroes, the Hex, literally fighting their way through the city as it's being taken over by, these toxic, high tech and mutated variants of, previous enemies in the game. You're fighting your way through the city, taking on these different missions as you were trying to stop a nuclear bomb from going off in the middle of the place at the turn of the new year in the year 2000. So literally the entirety of the Warframe 1999 story arc takes place over, from January all the way up to New Year's Eve in 1999.
Party like it's 1999.
Yeah, kind of like that. And just how, the concepts of temporal paradoxes and alternate histories are woven into what is already a rather rich sci-fi narrative. It's really something to experience, and it's definitely one of those story quests that I recommend folks check out if you actually get into Warframe. Just once you pick up the game, play through the story quests. And yes, Jagos, he nailed it. There is even a boy band in 99 that actually, factors into, the rest of the game because
look at this.
Because Warframe 99 had actually started. Well, Warframe itself had actually taken from the Nemesis system in the Shadow of Mordor games to create, to give players a chance.
Man, don't talk about the Nemesis system right now. I'm still salty.
I'm sorry.
Netflix about to own it too.
I'm sorry.
Hey, we're gonna get to that.
But Warframe actually, took inspiration from the Nemesis system for the Lich system that they have. So, it's basically, based on what Warframe you have at the time, you can literally pretty much create your own custom rival that would take over different parts of the solar system, and you would have to go through and fight to reclaim them. And the boy band in Warframe 99, through certain events, actually winds up becoming the newest faction of nemesis that you can, generate to fight against.
Man, to see you jump through those levels, I feel like I need to have TikTok brain.
Yeah.
Well, it's the reason I'm too old for Call of Duty for a while there is when everyone was doing their jump slide canceling 360 shots. It's like, nope.
This is definitely.
I hate that shit, dude.
That's just definitely, more advanced Warframe traversal from, someone who's been playing it since.
Yeah, but I'm saying it makes sense because you're in exosuits. You're that's the whole point. But Call of Duty soldiers don't jump around the battlefield hopping around.
What I want, update with Vanquish included, and then I'll play. Because I want Vanquish to come back.
That would be, but I feel like Vanquish would show up in the first Ascendant, not.
I mean, but still, I'd see it in this, and you can only heal by smoking cigarettes. It's of an era.
Dude, I love it. Guys, see, man, there you go, guys. Vanquish just randomly popping up in our stream tonight.
Right, and there's gonna be stick around for the tech because there's going to be plenty more Warframe coming your way. And don't worry, I will slow it down and break it down for you.
Break it down. Oh, I don't have that clip. Damn it.
Excellent.
I was going to do break it down from Killer Instinct. Nah. All right, folks. Well, that is our This Week in Gaming History / Memory Card Chronicles. So hopefully you guys have any memories and you'd like to chronicle. Please share that on our Discord. We're more than happy to take a look and see what you guys got going on. So of that, let's go move on to our next segment. There, I almost said the rumor mill first. Quick bite / rumor mill. That's so cool. I love that. All right, Nick, take it away.
Hot takes, quick hits, always, every week. Rapid fire roundup for you guys again. Biggest stories, updates, and whispers of the gaming world. Well, this first little bit of news was actually submitted on our Discord, so thank you for bringing that up. And thank you, Jagos. I see you there in the chat already. But this was brought up by Jagos before I could. I rolled out of bed, pulled up my phone, was going to post it, and realized he had already posted it. But longtime director of Tekken, Harada Kazuhiro, announced his departure from Bandai Namco. In a post, Harada-san felt that this 30th anniversary of the franchise was a good closing point, and released a 60-minute DJ mix of the franchise that he edited himself. What a way to go out, right? Mic drop. Almost
Right.
literally. With the passing of
drop.
yeah, big drop, and the bass everywhere. With the passing of Itagaki-san, he did share his thoughts about his time left as a creator, so this was kind of a writing on the wall moment and seemed like a good time to pull the plug. So we're going to go from that. Thank you again, Jagos. Community is putting that stuff on our Discord. Definitely join. We'd love to hear from you, not just for your memory card chronicles, but any news things you want to hear on the old chatterbox here. Speaking of chatterbox, let's talk about those mega corporate acquisitions that James was talking about a little bit earlier. Netflix has agreed to acquire Warner Brothers for more than $82 million. Now, this deal is under regulatory preview now, or purview, either one. And there is, certainly some hot takes and quick takes from across, the government and entertainment, thanks to this announcement. But the big deal in terms of talking points for the gaming industry is Netflix would own the rights to NetherRealm Studios, so MK and Injustice, Rocksteady Studios, so Batman Arkham and DC games in general, Avalanche Software, so Hogwarts Legacy and all Wizarding World / Harry Potter things that have to do with gaming, TT Games, which is the Lego games people, and any support studios and older legacy WB owned IPs. Lord of the Rings comes to mind. We were talking about the Nemesis system earlier. Thanks for bringing that up, Ace. So one extra little asterisk on this is there have been reports through the usual mysterious, quote unquote insiders, that Netflix didn't actually, quote, attribute any value to gaming as part of the deal. So that may be an implication that it was kind of an afterthought compared to the TV and film side of things that Netflix would get out of it. But that's not it. That's not all of it. We're actually not done yet. So if you didn't see in the last couple days, Paramount has gotten super aggressive just days after this Netflix announcement and put in a counter bid. Their counter bid is valuing at $108.4 million on top of it. And called the Netflix deal inferior. Straight up.
People are so rich, dude. It's
right? Before I get away from mega mergers and corporate overtaking, let's talk a little bit more about EA. We've been talking about EA being purchased, but a Wall Street Journal report is alleging that Saudi Arabia's PIF, or Public Investment Fund, will reportedly own 93.4% of EA under the current agreement. PIF is also a major stakeholder in Nintendo, if you didn't know that. They were also originally supposed to host the first Olympic esports games, but that was canceled after the EA buyout broke. And if you remember that Paramount bid that I had just mentioned just moments ago, well, PIF and friends are also bankrolling that, at least in part. So,
wow,
a lot of that money come in. I think we talked a little bit. I want to say it was like a podcast or two ago. We talked about the PIF and like how that would affect
that's crazy, dude.
Mass Effect, where maybe they're a little bit more open about their storytelling, and I don't know if that's going to change, or we don't know if that's going to change. Well, now there's going to be even more people even more properties owned by this group. So we'll see what happens. Postal Bullet Paradise was canceled, if you didn't know. But the real kicker is that this was done the day of its reveal for release on Steam. Publisher, the
Crazy.
day of. Publisher Running with Scissors, who now owns the franchise, announced the cancellation because of overwhelming negative reaction from the online community, who had all pointed out a barrage of accusations saying the developer of the game used AI-generated art. Now, the dev team, named Goonswarm Games,
Perfect.
initially denied the allegations, but Running with Scissors ultimately decided to pull the plug on it. So,
Okay. If you don't mind me stopping
Perfect.
just a quick second, it looks like we've got 24 new students joining the class. Riona, thank you so much for the raid. Thank you for bringing everybody in. We've got plenty to talk about. The more the merrier. Come on in.
come on in.
Just take your
Have a
seat,
seat.
grab your notebooks. We've got plenty to talk to you about. We're barely halfway through the show, so there's still plenty more action coming.
Well, anything for Demon Mommy. Arc Raiders, just finishing up the news. If you just joined, you didn't know we're talking a little bit about the quick hits in the news here. We're going on in the gaming industry this week. Arc Raiders has delayed the release of the first expedition, now aiming for December 17th. So the more you know. Ubisoft has confirmed that the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake will not be at the VGAs. So don't get your hopes up about that. Panel, while you're here, and chat while you're here, how do you feel about this year with the VGAs? It seems like it's a lot more tight-lipped leading up to this in terms of leaks and stuff. There hasn't been a little more of a trickle this time around.
Yeah, like whatever was going on with the leaks last year, I think someone took some flex tape to it.
Right on it.
Just locked them in the cooler, huh?
Hey guys, check this out. Nope.
Don't go against Jeff. Fulbright,
Right.
the dev studio behind Gone Home and Tacoma, showed off their next narrative-driven exploration game at the PC Gaming Show called Springs Eternal. It is set for a Steam release in 2026, and it's focused on an emotional journey in a secluded retreat. So spooky. If you're a fan of the other games, it'll probably be right up your alley. Roughly 7 months ago, we learned about Marathon's art plagiarism claims. Well, artist Anti-Real announced on Twitter this last week that they have reached an agreement with Bungie. The details about the resolution are private, so we don't know everything that's going on, but it's good news for everyone involved. We'll have to wait to see how this ultimately affects the final release of the game, but this has been a rocky road for Marathon.
That goes without saying.
Wee.
James, Diablo 4, are you still playing that?
Nope, but I'm interested.
No, you're interested, right?
Yep.
Okay. Good to know. Well, if you're still playing Diablo 4, anyone in chat, or if you're like me and you may have fallen off that wagon and wonder what's happening to it, well, Season 11 has been detailed in the blog post ahead of its December 11th release, so 2 days away. Permanent changes to tempering and masterworking are coming along. Defense, health, and renown are getting updates. All those systems. Evolved monster combat is what they're quoted as saying is what we're going to be getting, as well as major system updates like divine gifts, seasonal powers, and a new world boss. Any of that tickle your fancy?
Yes, because Asmodan is the boss in Diablo. But at the same time, they hinted at a new character, which was really tickling.
Very tickling. Okay, he's being double tickled. Watch out, chat. PlayStation has officially teased a new project that is a collaboration between the J.J. Abrams founded Bad Robot and Left 4 Dead creator Mike Booth. While PlayStation didn't share a lot of details, what is newsworthy and worth sharing on this pod with all you fine people is that Left 4 Dead creator, hello. It's going to be exclusive to PS5 and PC. It is a co-op shooter supporting up to 4 players, and it will be a brand new IP directed by Booth. So, no idea what that's going to be, but as a longtime fan of Left 4 Dead, I don't know about you two, that sounds pretty exciting.
I think it's cool.
Well, I mean, just like I haven't played much Left 4 Dead, but I know of it. I know about it. I've watched it. But the fact that it's a brand new IP, like a brand new IP and a more exclusive IP. We're not talking like timed exclusive. This is PS5, PC. That's it.
Well, hopefully we don't get a Back 4 Blood situation, right?
Let's not talk about that.
I was going to try to. Anyway, we're going to move on to the rumor mill really quick. Same as always, we are going to shift tone. It's going to be a little more dark. It's going to be a little more deeper because take everything here as a grain of salt. Remember, in the rumor mill, these are rumors, they're leaks, there's speculation that's circling right now. So
Pass the flex tape.
yeah, just lift the corner of it out just a little bit, my guy, before it gets slapped right back in. Well, GameStop has briefly perfect. Coin in. GameStop has briefly leaked a character for Resident Evil Requiem. I don't know if
Let's
you saw
go.
that. It was spotted by eagle-eyed Redditor Hot Challenge 2755, who found a listing for the deluxe edition, which shows Rosemary Winters as a playable character alongside Grace Ashcroft. Now, obviously, the leak was removed by GameStop pretty quickly, but speculation on what returning characters have kind of been like bubbling to the surface for a while now for this title. And it's been all over the place, but now it looks like we have a little bit of confirmation from a little oopsie from the big G. Capcom shared a little insight during their latest integrated report, and since none of these are official confirmed releases, it fits right into this little rumor mill section. But from what the company says in the report, they are intending to create new releases, remakes, and ports of games in the Mega Man, Devil May Cry, and Ace Attorney franchises. Any of those interest you, chatter panel?
I know Andre is shaking in his boots right now.
For which one?
Devil May Cry, 100%.
Okay.
Like,
Ace?
brother, if we
Ace
finally
Attorney?
see, no, if we finally see some continuation on Mega Man X, sign me up.
You know, there's a couple people in the Reddit posts about that who were talking about the X series.
Because X8 left off on a cliffhanger.
Oh, there you go. I think that's a good one to come back to.
We'll have to keep an eye on that. Hey, what rumor mill would be complete without at least one thing potentially being present at the VGAs this week? Because again, it's only 2 days away. Coming from Curacasis on X Cancel, the rumor is that a new Star Wars game could be announced, and it is not Zero Company or Eclipse, which we already know about. Now, there's no additional information that's being shared, but of the projects known to be in development, we have Star Wars Jedi 3 from Respawn, who did Outcast and Survivor, the KOTOR remake, which we thought was at Saber Interactive, and Amy Hennig's Untitled Star Wars game, which is still in development. So, hey, pull out your bingo cards. Maybe you have KOTOR on there, maybe you don't. I know I do.
Does that exclude Star Wars Hope? Because I know that was being made. Or did they forget about that game?
I don't know. There was so many things that have been lost in the shuffle with the Star Wars franchise. That's, or at least the games.
Gosh,
that's why we're like wondering what this could be if it really is not one of those two. I'm still waiting for more news on Eclipse. We haven't heard anything for a long time since that choice trailer that dropped. I loved that.
It was pretty good.
I mean, have I ever told the chat or panel like my favorite Star Wars titles? It's definitely Knights of the Republic, which is in the news, not just from that last one, but there was a remake being done by Asper, if you didn't know, for DLC for KOTOR 2. But after it failed to materialize, a lawsuit was handed down, giving the public some information. So these details have shown a full remake of KOTOR is in the planning stages with a bunch of fixes for the infamous original unfinished ending, which is one of the things that still breaks my heart to this day.
Oh.
Now, again, this isn't an official announcement of any kind, so still kind of a rumor mill item, but this was from the filing and the stuff that happened this last March. We do have confirmation in that same hearing that the remake of KOTOR 1 that was announced in 2021 and has been in development hell is confirmed not to be at Saber Interactive, but Mad Head Games, the studio behind the Hellraiser revival that's coming out soon.
Neat.
Interesting.
Last little bit of information, spoiler alert, earmuffs if you don't want to hear about this, if you're wanting to go into the VGAs with like no information, just mute me for 10 seconds, maybe 20 seconds. The mystery of that statue we talked about last week has finally been sleuthed out thanks to mpfirst.com. So we already know that people like Jason Schreier has shot down claims that it was tied to Diablo. There's other insiders that threw cold water on theories about a potential God of War Elder Scrolls release or announcement. But we now know, thanks to this website, that trademarks have been filed in Europe. Some logos for this was tied to a new Divinity game that looks to be the answer to what this statue is about. One of those logos was a perfect copy of what's on the statue. So while this is still speculation, and we're going to find out in 2 days, this could easily be the early news of Larian Studios' new game after the ultra successful Baldur's Gate 3.
It's been a wild one that it's Lords of the Fallen. I can see that. Yeah.
Well, hey, that's this week's Quick Bites and Rumor Mill. Stay sharp, stay curious, and don't believe every leak you read.
Never. I'll believe what I want. Don't tell me what to do.
Or don't tell me, Dad.
Don't tell me what to do. Hey, thank you for that, Nick. We much appreciate. And that, folks, is your Quick Bites for this week. Alrighty, now you've finally made it midpoint. We're gonna do a quick transition to the special, the Master of. Which one is it this week? Talking about the way, right? I'll leave it up to you, Ace.
So, class, welcome back. Good to see you. I hope you all had yourself a great week. And although we didn't have any sessions of the tech last week, I hope you all had fun over the last couple, just discussing and reminiscing about some of your favorite special and signature moves from your favorite characters in gaming. As it stands, though, it's time to get back to hitting the lab. And this week, we're going to focus on something a little different. Not quite directly tied to offense and defense, but still pretty important. While the gear doesn't necessarily make the fighter, it certainly helps. From optimizing armor and weapons to linking together materia, synergizing boons, playing the right tunes before a skirmish, or simply finding the right mods. Build crafting can play a substantive role in personalizing your chosen hero. This, as GQ was trying to mention a few moments ago, this is what I like to call the way of synergy. Now, while this one's going to be, kind of short compared to the previous sessions, when you really look into the content itself, it's going to be dense when you really think about it. In a large variety of games, especially across the most recent console generations, character progression can be linked to one's equipment. However, it's more than just progression that's expressed through these mechanics. It's customization, it's personalization, it's creative expression within the parameters of the tools offered to carry your unique playstyle through the content. It's like, think of each game as a toy box. You've got one toy box that has a bunch of Legos. You've got one toy box that has G.I. Joes and Transformers. You've got one toy box that has Ninja Turtles and Ronin Warriors. Yes, I'm old. Deal with it. But the thing is, you don't have to play with all those action figures or those building blocks the way that they outline on the box. Your imagination and your creativity sets the limit for how you can utilize what's in your chosen toy box. Let's take, for example, Hades. As you play through it, you earn the different boons from the different gods, and you can combine them and different weapon modifications to forge unique play styles far outside what you would normally think would be available for specific weapons. Case in point, the rocket shotgun build for Exegriff, for the railgun. Normally, you walk in with the railgun, 3 shots, 6 shots, reload. But if you get two certain weapon modifications, you can literally turn that into a spread ballistic missile launcher that, take it from me, no matter what boons you pick up, that will carry you through the game. But it is a complete departure from what you've got normally right out the box. In games like, say, The First Descendant and the showcase game for this session, Warframe, modules, or mods for short, come into play not only to capitalize on stats, but to capitalize on signature. But there are signature variants, of these mods that exist for each character, for each Warframe, for each hero, that grant an opportunity to laser focus on specific facets of your character's arsenal and wildly reconfigure them to focus on a unique skill that's not available by default. Or, taking it back a little ways, taking it back, a couple decades to something that we all know. I can just mention it and y'all will get exactly what I'm talking about. Final Fantasy VII and the Materia system. The wildly different synergies and combinations of materia that can be linked together can produce everything from blistering 15 spell counterattacks to nigh immortality after taking a particularly serious hit. Ahem, Final Attack Phoenix. Look it up. And just taking a look at even, what's mentioned in the official strategy guides for Final Fantasy VII. Stuff from the thematic that, focuses on, say, Tifa being more of a traditional monk and having, materia combinations that, buff her offensive capabilities to, stuff that's way over the top, like, 8 rapid fire castings of Knights of the Round. Something from that to, from different meme builds to different meta builds that are built specifically to, carry you through the game that pretty much every higher level or advanced level player, so, 102 or 103 level player would know. The Way of Synergy is a path to free expression in your favorite games and tailoring your experience to you as a player. Because the thing is, you may come across the same toys in the same toy box as anyone else that goes in there. But the limit, again, is your imagination. Your experience with a game will be as individual as your own fingerprint. For tonight's case study, we're going to jump right into Warframe, and we're going to start with, one of the frames that I've been maining, especially since I found out about this particular playstyle with him. Now, with Frost, we'll jump right into his abilities real quick. And as it stands, I have him right now hooked up with just the basics. And with Frost's basic kit, between his basic freeze projectile, or, the ice wave, which creates more of a cone of control, to the snow globe, which literally sets up a spherical barrier of ice, and finally to Avalanche, which is a wide-ranging high damage AoE. You'll notice a specific pattern with all 4 of Frost's abilities. Crowd control. It's crowd control, it's space control, it's it's the way of the spear, writ large in Frost's kit. General reputation is that if you've got a defense mission, if you've got a checkpoint that you need to hold, if you've got a choke point that you need to hold, Frost is going to be one of the go-tos. You can either slow down enemies or prevent damage utilizing the snow globe to different objectives. However, should you go into actually working with, some of the different mods that you can find as you level up your character and as you, make your runs around the star chart, you'll eventually find and earn augment mods. Frame specific. Like Warframe specific mods, which will help you focus on, certain abilities by, enhancing them and setting up alternate play styles. Now, for anyone asking in the chat, if you should I start I would say this. If you do start, do so tomorrow after the upcoming update drops. So that way, you know, you can actually download the entirety of the content that's in the game right now and you can start fresh. But one of the things they've been doing has been, you know, working on the new player experience. So if you want a basic course, if you want a entry level 101 course in how to work with mods and weapons and everything else in the system, then you can get that right at the start of the game. And of course, financial barrier to entry is 0. So keep that in mind too. But for the more advanced folks that are already in the game and have been working with Frost, y'all know what I've been talking about as far as what his base kit does. But when you start picking up different mods, you'll see stuff that like Stretch, for example. This increases the area of effect for your abilities or the range for your abilities. So you'll have a wider cone spread on the ice wave, or a larger radius snow globe, or a wider area of effect for avalanche. And you'll start with basically mods that'll again just work with increasing stats. But then you eventually find stuff like Ice Wave Impedance, which is basically going to make it so that not only do you have that cone of effect, but it leaves a trail of frost for a certain duration, and enemies that hit it are afflicted with cold every second as it goes. So aside from that initial instance of damage, you've got damage over time, which further emphasizes Frost's control over various choke points and checkpoints. And then you have Icy Avalanche, where every enemy that gets hit with the avalanche, you get overguard. So you get additional health on top of what you've already got. And also increases your armor, so increases your defense in addition. You can use singular augment mods with others to buff up your stats and buff up a particular move for a role, or you can use combinations of them to turn Frost into something different. The build that I have listed as Snow Surge, excuse me, this right here is a completely different way to play Frost, and one that I find myself enjoying because it's more of a team-based variant. Because I took Icy Avalanche, so you get the extra defense, you get the overguard, and this also applies to your allies. I also took Biting Frost, so that way I can still contribute to damage for any enemies that are frozen. And then you add to it Precision Intensify, which increases how much damage your fourth ability does, and only that ability specifically. So through these mods, through this build crafting, what I basically have done is created a Frost variant that focuses solely on using that wide-ranging, incredibly damaging avalanche maneuver. And with the wide net that I can cast with that ability, that right there strengthens and increases the amount that I heal my team and can protect my team while they're running forward and doing their thing. So instead of protecting choke points and checkpoints, I'm protecting my squad like they're a moving checkpoint. Or, another good example of a character that could be completely taken out of their original context is Volt. Volt's one of the 3 starter warframes. And Volt is, kind of your caster. He's your first instance of, working with elemental damage and elemental statuses. But then, aside from build crafting with mods, you also have build crafting with the Helminth system, which allows you to transplant special moves from other warframes onto one that you have currently selected. And that also includes the augment mods for whatever moves that you transfer. So instead of being a magic caster, instead of being an elemental caster, the build that I have up for him right now has basically turned Volt into a summoner. So instead of doing direct damage or, direct damage with my elements, I leave that to the minions that I can summon for each stealth kill that I land. Now we could go into the details on that. Hell, I will go into the details on that, pretty much anytime I'm actually streaming, a full session of Warframe. But what I've basically gone over tonight and what I've basically broken down is a live fire example of how you can effectively kit bash with your characters depending on the equipment that you have, depending on the mods that are available, depending on, other systems in the game, other toys in the toy box that allow you to change the context of the game that you're playing into something wildly different and wildly unique, wildly tailored to you as the player. Now, while I've this session of the tech is one that, I haven't listed that, this would, that the homework assignment for this would be free study. But, when I say free study, I basically say this, go back to, any game that you have where, your equipment is a large portion of your character progression. Think about how it alters your play styles. Think about how it emphasizes various abilities, various stats for your characters. I mean, heck, again, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy X, even Final Fantasy 16. Excellent examples of how your character can change based on what you've got built into them. Think about games like Hades, like Absalom. Think about even, something like, let's say, Mass Effect, where, you might be maximizing your equipment just to get the highest stats, but think about how your characters could play if instead of, trying to maximize all your stats, try seeing how differently you play if you've got equipment that focuses on, say, accuracy or focuses on, the amount of ammunition that you have in your clip or focuses on specific elements even. Take time to see what laser honing in on specific facets of your character through equipment can do and how it changes up how the game feels for you to play. Give that a shot for maybe 1 or 2 sessions over the next week. Report back in the comments on Discord and on Twitter. But that right there is going to do it for this week's session of the tech. I appreciate y'all coming in. I appreciate you strapping on your gloves and, training alongside me as we talk about the way of synergy and how build crafting can most definitely change up your gameplay experience and change up how you utilize your favorite characters in your favorite games. And remember, study hard, train smart, and may your combos always connect.
who knew eventually you'd be hearing that jubilee for your own show?
Man, if you said something like that to little big head Ace in high school, he'd call you crazy.
Right. No, that's cool.
Let's go ahead and shut this off
Yep.
right here.
All right, cool. All right. Well, yeah, thanks for the tech, man. I hope you guys watching out there, tech is really good if you're trying to optimize your gameplay and get the good tidbits from people that have been playing the game for a while. And sometimes it's hard to understand, like when I think fighting game players, when they're trying to train somebody new, it's always hard to relay that information across because you have to experience it, right? So even if you're watching the tech and you're like listening to us, like go out there and like just go play the game and then learn from that and bring back what you take, when you get back. Let us know. Let us know on Discord. So cool. All right, we're nearing about that time. I'm about to lecture to y'all. So get ready because bro, this one is a doozy. All right, our next one here is the final boss. Challenge accepted. So if it's your first time here and you welcome, good to have you. Just let you know that the final boss segment is where we take life lessons or experiences in video games and we bring them out to real life. So who said you couldn't learn from from video game? Who said that you couldn't learn from experiences that that people put in video games? Matter of fact, I think most designers take experiences that they've had and put them in a game and then gets relayed to us. Then we kind of regurgitate that back into life itself. So it's kind of like a cycle. It's very interesting. So in this case, the topic we have for today is called the grind. Where's my marquee here? Oh, so I didn't have it. All good. Yeah. All right. Anyway, this topic for Final Boss this week is called the grind. And, we often hear that terminology in a lot of video games and other aspects of our life here. And, work, we hear that in, just a variety of different things. But in video games, it's often talked about as like leveling up, right? And then also with the possibility of getting stronger, getting better, so life just gets easier. Well, tonight, let me talk to you a little bit more about the grind. Okay. Let me get sorry guys, I'm getting stuff set up here. All good. Uh-oh. All right. Now, here it is. In every game that we've ever played, there's one mechanic that separates the casual run from the legendary one. One idea that every RPG, every MMO, every action game leans on. Something simple, something old school, something players either love or avoid at all costs, right? And that's called the grind. Tonight's final boss is about why grind matters, not just in video games, but in life. Because the grind is the ultimate form of delayed gratification. It's choosing to put the work in now for a reward you won't see until later. Now, you kill your enemies not for the moment, but for the XP, right? You run quests not for the loot today, but the build you're shaping tomorrow. You train your skills not for this fight, but for the one waiting 10 hours from now, or whenever that fight may be. Now, every game teaches the same truth. Victory is a byproduct of patience. Now, I want you to think about this one. Think about it really hard, right? In Final Fantasy, you grind because that boss isn't going down unless you grow first. In Monster Hunter, you put in hours of learning your weapon before you even take on the Elder Dragon. Nergigante is the bane of my existence, by the way. In Elden Ring, you explore, you farm runes, you strengthen your build, so when the real challenge comes, you're ready. Sometimes it's not even enough. And in MMOs, the grind is the game. The journey creates the reward itself, right? Now, but here's the thing that we forget. Life works the same way. We want results instantly. I want it now. We want progress without patience. We want level 50 rewards at level 5 effort. But anything worth having, strength, skill, wisdom, peace, mastery, comes through consistent, invisible effort. Through the hours no one sees. Through the failures that you don't get posted. That don't get posted. Through the grind that builds you even when you don't notice. The grind itself teaches discipline. The grind teaches resilience. The grind teaches you how to become focused or stay focused on who you're becoming, not just what you're earning. Because the true reward of the grind isn't the XP, it's not really the loot, right? It's the patience, the habits, the mindset you build along the way. So if you're in a season of grinding right now, keep grinding. If you're putting in the hours at work, at home, in your relationships, in your passion, in yourself, don't give up. It feels slow. It feels thankless. It feels like nothing is happening. It sucks. But remember this. The progress is happening inside you before it ever happens around you. Just like in the games. You don't see the payoff immediately, but when that moment comes, when that boss descends, when life challenges you, you'll be ready because of the work you put in long before the fight. The grind is not glamorous. It's not fast, but it is very powerful. And it is very, very necessary. You've trained, you've leveled up. Now face the final boss. And that's it for my monologue tonight. Not bad, right? And I think I froze halfway through, so that's awesome. Where is that at? No, I think my whole stuff froze. Hold on, I gotta come back. All right, BRB chat. I gotta restart. All right, you guys hear me?
Yep.
I cannot hear
Loud
you
and clear.
guys. I, like freaked out.
Gotta love technical difficulties, eh?
Your audio is on. Can you guys say something?
No,
Testing,
Nope.
testing. How we doing?
but I can hear Ace.
Nada. What the heck?
Uh-oh. Hey, on that note, right?
What video is
The final boss is the audio equipment.
Right? Well, again, that's That's the grind, you know.
Usually it's me. Usually it's me with the camera freezing or internet issues. This is some bizarre world stuff. I don't know what's going on.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, that was crazy. I don't know what happened there. It just like did I just get cut off halfway or what?
I think the final boss, slapped back.
Flashback? Yeah. Well, I guess like I was wondering where I left off.
Oh, no,
you got to the end.
Yeah, you got to the end.
Did they just cut me off? That's funny.
Yep. It's like, now face the final boss. Camera
Yeah.
freezing.
And then I died. That's
Wi-Fi, the final boss.
that's reality for you.
Final boss is Comcast.
Well, I don't know what I think I think honestly it's Restream. Everything's fine except Restream. So it might be out, dumping some RAM or something because Google Chrome takes up so much.
Man, hopefully the RAM's okay. Can't imagine trying to replace it at the current cost.
Yeah, that's I'm pretty sure there's RAM in the black market right now. I'll just do that. It's cheaper to like buy a computer and then take the RAM out and then put it in your it's kind of crazy how that's stuff.
Right.
But yes, guys, that's what I got for the final boss. So yeah, good stuff, some good stuff. Personally, I like this one myself because I struggle with all day every day. And, we work hard for stuff, but we don't really see the result till like later down the road. So hopefully if you guys just keep at it, we talked about the hero's journey last time. Keep at it. You're still fighting your way through life, leveling up, grinding, but it's what is that kind of like the cliche, it's the friends we met along the way, right? Whatever that is.
Growth of really any sort, whether it's physical growth, whether it's on a larger level, evolution. It's invisible at the moment it's happening, but the results are dramatic.
Yeah, it's almost like the same thing as like going on a diet. Like you can't really see it, but like once you change your lifestyle, you consistently apply that change, you'll eventually see the change. Right? It's not going to happen overnight. People are going to start to notice, right? But it's not instant. It's like something along the lines where like somebody will cross your path and they'll be like, "You losing weight? You look different." Like they kind of question you a little bit. So I think that's.
Nope, I just ate an entire pie by myself.
Hey man, I used to rock out a whole pizza by myself.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, oh, too old. Too much stomach acid. Hurts.
I just love now with like my friends. It's like, oh yeah, did you come over? Did you bring any bevs? Did you bring something to snack on? Did you bring your Imodium? You got your Tums?
Yeah, the Tums is the one, and the Pepto-Bismol. Yeah, man, just getting old sucks. That's all I gotta say about that. Getting old is kind of whack. What were some of the things you guys remember? Let's go to high school era, not college era. That you guys would probably do like a Friday night, Saturday night with your buddies, video game related, and it's like whatever.
Oh, that's easy. Friday nights and Saturday nights, like literally the moment I am done with school, the moment I'm off campus, Burger King or Taco Bell. Go get me a large nachos Bel Grande. Make a run back to the homies pad. We sit down. We've already got like 12 packs of Pepsi and Sunkist just waiting for us at the pad. Fire up the PS1. And we're just getting in them hours.
You guys were so cool. Just the way you said that. I've got nothing on. You said high school, not college?
No,
yeah,
that's high school.
Damn.
And I'm frozen.
Ace was living the dream. For me, man, it was, if we're talking like gaming related, it was like impromptu LAN parties, getting together, playing Halo, hooking up multiple Xboxes and trying to get that to work. That was really what we did. There was very few times, and I've talked about it on the podcast in the past too. Like I remember going over to a friend's house and like effectively spending the night in high school and just playing games that I wasn't allowed to do at home in my place because we had a small house. It was just It's a 2-bedroom, and it was really small. My brother and I shared a room, so you didn't really get away from your parents. You couldn't just like game in the middle of the night. So we'd go to a friend's place. I'd hang out. We play all night. I remember I mentioned before playing like Ocarina of Time, just staying up late doing that, playing Driver on the PS1, just playing old school games.
Yeah.
As well as some of like the Halos, like I mentioned, with like LAN parties. College was a different vibe, man. For me, like during that time, especially after the second year, like I would go and buy Sparks chips. Yeah, I get Sparks. I get usually the orange one. I wouldn't get the black one. I didn't like how dark, like not dark, but like extra that one tasted. I'd get that. I'd get the Fritos jalapeno cheddar dip and bags of tortilla chips and just scoop that in my mouth. That was my night. Just playing WoW and doing that. No care in the world for my body.
In college, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, not in high school. I couldn't afford to do that. I couldn't get Sparks.
I don't even think I knew energy drinks existed back in high school, but
I didn't. I did not. It was not until like started dabbling in Sparks and stuff, and then Red Bull, of course.
Mine depended on who I was hanging out with Friday nights in school. Just because like, in high school, not everybody gets along. Everybody's in cliques, right? And I was friends with everyone. That was like the fortunate and unfortunate thing, because some of my friends didn't get along very well, just because that's just how high school is mentality.
Yeah.
And so like if I was hanging out with my buddy Matt, the one I was talking about with, like, he's good with computers. He's the one that first told me about Google, right? He's the one that pirated all the games, right? He would bring his computer over. He'd like sleep over, and like we'd have a sleepover, and like he'd play on his computer, I'd play on my PlayStation, and we kind of like swap, because like I don't have a PC and he doesn't have a console, so we were getting like the best of both worlds, which is kind of nice, like limited to like what we got, as kids that don't have jobs, right? So that was kind of fun. Like that was a good like core memory of just hanging out with my buddy. Now, if I was hanging out with like the people in the football team, the jocks and the sports guys, we were hanging out at my house playing Blitz or NBA Jam, or those like co-op games that are like, they're fast paced, right? GoldenEye, we played GoldenEye also. We played Star Fox.
Oh yeah.
So basically the co-op games. We weren't really limited to sports. We were just limited to like 4-player, like, because there was like at least 6 of us hanging out. And I remember one time, one of my buddies was like, "Hey, are you gonna eat that hot dog?" And I was like, "Bro, that hot dog is frozen." I was like, no, it's still good. And I was like, and he just basically throated the hot dog. And I was like, "Bro, that is nuts. I've never seen that before. That is disgusting." And I was like, wow, I cannot get that image out of my brain.
I mean, he wasn't wrong. It was still good.
It was like good. Just like the field goal kick.
On that same note, especially being at friend's place and staying overnight and trash food, cold pizza, yes or no?
Yeah, 100%. Especially depending which place, right?
Oh, we've got a connoisseur here. You're going to break down by each place.
No, because like I think Domino's in the 90s tastes different than Domino's now.
Oh yeah,
right. And cold Domino's.
That's not a hot take.
Yeah, just like their pizza, right? But I always thought like cold Little Caesars was like perfect, like cheese, pepperoni, cold, like that was perfectly fine. But some pizza where they're like trying to too gourmet and it's cold, it's like it has to be warmed up, otherwise it just tastes funky.
Yeah, fair enough.
But
There's a bell curve. There's a bell curve.
One other thing, like as far as like weekend gaming sessions and late nights with trash food, there ain't much outside of, Domino's Pizza that gets better than having just a plate of tortilla chips with like slices of American cheese layered over on top of it. Put it in the microwave for a couple of minutes. You got yourself some broke ass nachos.
Hey, I made those nachos, but not with singles. Always shredded cheese. Singles that's Mad Men. Like
that
you can afford the shreddies, my man. Like
that is SoCal broke in the 90s.
God,
Yo, like Kraft singles and some
Okay.
pasty pate sauce.
I've now decided when we get together, we're gonna do a adult land party, and I'm making those nachos for you, and we'll see how you feel. We'll have the old feelings come back.
Ghetto nachos.
Ghetto nachos, but with your Kraft singles on top.
Kraft singles, my
Okay,
man. You can't even get shredded cheese, bro.
Kraft,
That's
Kraft
that's what we were
and
just
pasty
talking
pate.
about. I'm like, you're insane, like shreddies, man. Come on.
Just trying to skip a step.
That's been one fun thing about having a kid now. And I don't have enough time to like cook unless I really set aside or like, hey, I've got to plan the nap. The nap's here. Okay, now I get to go and like plan the meal or meal prep.
Mhm.
Right now, it's been a lot of microwave nachos. I got the chips left, I got the cheese. I got like 30 seconds. Like, it's what we're getting.
You know what else is getting? My camera is freezing all the time, so I think this is a good time to call it.
Yeah,
And
I think,
even my computer is like, no, stop it.
I
go
think
back.
the camera's cooked.
Yeah, it's
Like
all
the
good.
nachos.
I'll get it figured out. But yeah, let me close it out tonight for episode 56. We'll see you next week because next week is the birthday. I got something planned for y'all. Maybe it's just a hangout community night. We're thinking about, playing Marvel Cosmic Invasion, Ninja Turtles. I would appreciate Ninja Turtles because that's what I remember going to the big Little Caesars and they had like the 4-player Ninja Turtles arcade game there.
Mhm.
And I remember inviting all my buddies to be like, and then we get, you get the pizza with like the $20 bucket of quarters, right? And we'd play that, The Simpsons, right? Those 4-player arcade games. I would love to get a 4-player Ninja Turtle Shredder's Revenge.
Okay,
fun.
listen, class. Any of y'all that has Shredder's Revenge, especially on the especially on PlayStation, hit us up. Hit us up. The more the merrier. We are going to want you to join us for next week's next week's co-op.
Pop it on Discord, and I'll send you an invite. My username is GQ Asian Dude on there as well. So, but yeah, let me close it out tonight. We went from Yakuza, Tekken, Doom, Warcraft 2, Gris, Warframe 1999, and more in the Memory Card Chronicles, to Harada's departure, Mega Mergers, Diablo updates, and Star Wars rumors in Quick Bite / Rumor Mill. Ace broke down the way of synergy into tech, showing us the right gear, materia, boons, and mods can completely change the way you play. And we close with the final boss with The Grind, a reminder that sometimes the most important progress is the kind that you cannot see. Now, if you're out there grinding in your own life, at work, at home, creatively, mentally, just know it does count. It counts. No matter what you say, it counts. Even when it doesn't feel like it. Okay? So thank you for hanging out with us tonight, chatting with us, and learning with us. Until the next class, make sure to hit that follow, sub on Twitch and YouTube, etc. Watch Ace play Warframe. Until the next time, learn to craft, master the game, because you've trained, you've leveled up. Now face the final boss. We'll see you next week. All right?
Class dismissed.
Have a good night, y'all.
Where'd he go?
Just dropping out on us. Let's go get that Domino's pizza.
You know what? I think I am. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna run to the store and I'm gonna get them